Dear friends, it looks like a routine phacoemulsification cataract surgery, but it is not. The patient is 67-year-old gentleman who presented to us with a gradual diminution of the vision. On examination, he was found to have increased intraocular pressure in his both eyes. His right eye pressures were around 24 mm of the mercury and left eye around 28 mm of the mercury. So we started him on 2 tablets of acetazolamide stat 250 mg. After 2 hours of which we rechecked his intraocular pressure, the right eye intraocular pressure decreased to 14 mm of the mercury, but left eye remained the same with a steamy cornea. I was able to visualize right eye fundus after dilatation of the only right eye, which showed around 0.7 cupping. So this patient is posted for right eye cataract surgery, and we started him on the combination of brinzolamide, dorzolamide and timolol with BD dosage of tablet Dimox for his left eye treatment. So uh, on phacoemulsification, the initial steps were over. Now we are at the stage of rhexis. So while doing rhexis, I noted a slight zonular laxity, for which I was a little bit worried, and his anterior chamber was also a little bit shallow. The A scan showed his anterior chamber depth was around 2.7 to 2.8 millimeter. Because of the zonular laxity, so I was a little bit hurried to finish off the case, because I don't want the fluid pressure to get built up in the retrolental space, which would have led to shallow anterior chamber and tight globe, which would have led to worse worst scenario. So that I wanted to finish off the case as early as possible. So the phacoemulsification procedure was hassle free, and so I did the vertical chopping, and then the intraocular lens was implanted. He chose a hydrophobic monofocal intraocular lens. Our thought process is like, if the intraocular pressures will not come down to the normal range only with the cataract surgery, then we can go ahead and plan for the trabeculectomy at a later date. And we have also started a maximum medical treatment for his left eye. If his pressures will not come down to the normal range in the left eye, then we can plan for combined surgery in his left eye. And now the epinucleus plate is also taken up by the phaco probe. The antechamber remained very well formed, and I didn't notice any fluctuations in the antechamber, which was a very much relieving sign for me. Then I reformed the antechamber with a viscoelastic, and then did the cortical wash with the help of the Simcoe cannula. So removing the cortex opposite to the main wound, and then removing the subincisional cortex with the help of a side port is being done. Likewise, the whole 360-degree cortical removal was done. And at this stage, I didn't notice the worsening of any zonular laxity or anything. So initially I planned to implant the capsular tension ring, but as the zonular laxity was mild and there is no any worsening of the zonular laxity while cortical wash, and as I wanted to finish off the case as early as possible, so I implanted directly the hydrophobic intraocular lens in the back. I kept the insertion of the CTR at the end, even if I would notice the zonular laxity or zonular dialysis after insertion of the intraocular lens. Now this is the power wash to remove the remaining debris to clean up the posterior capsule so that the patient should get a crystal clear vision. Now the anterior chamber is reformed with a viscoelastic, and the hydrophobic monofocal intraocular lens was implanted. The leading haptic directly goes in the bag, and the trailing haptic is guided and tucked in the bag. So here also there is no worsening of zonular laxity, or there is no evidence of any zonular dialysis. So I aborted the plan of putting the capsular tension ring. A thorough visco washout is done. The visco was removed from the bag, going behind the IOL and irrigating it out, and then it is removed from the subincisional area. Then it is flushed out from the endothelium. Then the visco was also removed from the angle, and then the case is on the verge of finishing. So I got a very relieving sign after noting that the lens was well placed and there is no evidence of any shallowing of the anterior chamber and building up of any fluid in the retrolental space. So I am hydrating the side port wound and main wound and tightening the anterior chamber. So after tightening of the anterior chamber, the patient is asked whether he is able to see the light or no, but the patient denied seeing any lights. So I again decompressed the anterior chamber and reformed it with little bit of less tightness, and then again patient is asked whether he is able to see the light or no. Now he said that he is able to see the two lights. After confirming it, we finished the case. Thank you for your kind attention. Kindly subscribe the channel and like the video.